welcome to the Wong Way Street podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Wong, and this podcast is dedicated to self-discovery and personal growth that will help you find your personal GPS. Life, as we know, can be unpredictable, and when the path we thought we were meant to follow takes unexpected turns, it's time to recalibrate those turns and discover endless possibilities. Join us on the Wong Way Street podcast today to find your true direction. Let's dive in. Hey, welcome back to another episode. So I want to start with sharing 3 quotes with you. The first one is, a flower does not think of competing with the flower next to it. It just blooms. The second quote is, there's no comparison between the sun and the moon. They shine when it's time. And the third one is, which I'm sure you've heard of, don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Yes, this is about comparison. From the time that we're born, we're automatically thrusted into the world of comparisons. As infants, we have our milestones, such as the first smile, the first spoken word, the first step, even the first potty training. And it's often measured against normal benchmarks. Parents, sometimes without even realizing it, will compare their child's progress to someone else's. Now, children, especially during their developmental years, are like sponges. They absorb these notions. So when you fast forward to school age, the comparisons only become more apparent. They start to compare their grades. They start to compare their athletic ability, their talents, their popularity. The scales are endless. So as we transition into our teenage years, the comparisons only take a deeper, more personal turn. My generation didn't have these challenges that the teens have today. I recall the subtle pressures of my time was getting a members-only jacket, buying Jordache and Calvin Klein jeans, or having an Atari, or the biggest invention, which was getting cable television. Today's generation is faced with a beast of another nature. With the rise of social media platforms like Instagram and TikTok, teenagers are bombarded with images of perfect lives, perfect bodies, and perfect experiences. However, life is not perfect. They just display it that way. It's curated that way. We even have filters that only perfects us even more. They start to equate their self-worth with how many likes they have, how many comments they have, and how many followers that they have. This search for validation is dangerous. It's dangerous because it leads to low self-esteem and, in extreme cases, mental health issues. Now, let's move on to adulthood. You would think that as we grow older and wiser, comparisons would diminish. But honestly, that's far from the truth. It's just that the metrics simply shift because it becomes now about job titles and salaries and homes and family milestones. To tell you the truth, I felt this head on. At one point, all my friends around me were getting married, having children, and when you're not at that level or decide not to go that route, the spotlight is focused on you. Then you're faced with questions like, why aren't you married? Why don't you have kids? And honestly, this is worse when you're a female. The pressures of societal expectations is truly unfair. And people don't think about how it makes that person feel. These expectations can sometimes feel like a pressure cooker, ready to spill over. Luckily, I haven't felt this way in a while. In fact, I've never been more confident than ever, even though I don't have that marriage or family that people expect me to have. I can confidently say that I feel 100% fulfilled in my life. Now, why are these comparisons so damaging? It's a distorted reality. We often compare our behind the scenes with someone else's highlight reel, especially in this age of curated social media feeds. It's damaging because there's a loss of joy. We are constantly looking over the fence and forgetting the beauty of our own garden. Stagnation. Instead of focusing on our growth, we're fixated on others, leading to a lack of personal and professional development. As we age, we'd hope that the grip of comparison loosens up. But honestly, for many, it doesn't. It just starts to morph into regrets. I wish I did this. I should have done that. And instead of celebrating their experiences, their memories, their wisdom, we're left with thinking about these missed opportunities. So what's the fix? The fix is we need to recognize when we start comparing and minimizing that quicksand of comparison. Limit your exposure to the platforms or environments that's triggering those feelings. We need to concentrate on our own journey, our own growth, and our own path. And I've said this many of times, we need to express gratitude for what we have. We need to celebrate what we have, not what we lack, not what we want, but be grateful for the things that you have going on in your life so that you can continue to have more of that. While it's natural for humans to compare, it's crucial to recognize those pitfalls. Let's strive to be kinder to ourselves, that every individual has their own unique journey with highs and lows. And for that is truly incomparable. Hey, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Wong Way Street podcast. We hope that our conversations have inspired you to embrace the detours on your life's journey. Trust that the road ahead is full of endless possibilities. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to subscribe and leave us a review. Thanks, and see you again soon.